Okay, so now that we have several shifts in the shift editor, let's take a little closer look at how filters, shifts, size, refresh PDFs will actually change the display and make it a little bit easier to use. If we look at the number of shifts we've got, we can tell by the size of the slider that we have lots and lots and lots and lots of shifts in various states. So the first probably line of defense is let's set the start and end date to a little bit more meaningful size. So let's go then till the end of January and let's just look at most of February. And that's a little bit more meaningful chunk for administrators. Even within that group, we can see that there are many, many different shifts in many different states, plus some have a location and some have volunteers that have accepted and some are in different states as well. So let's have a look at how we can break that down into a little bit more meaningful chunks. So if we go to filters, knowing that everything in this window are things that we can affect with these buttons. So let's go to filters and let's say that we would like to look at shifts that are just connected to gym. When we do that, and then we toggle off filters, what we get to see is a much smaller chunk. These are the shifts that have the tag word gym. So we can see that that's one way that we'll be able to make that the number of shifts in a particular time period a little bit more manageable. Let's then toggle that back off again. And of course, we come back to all of the original situation. Notice there is a little lag because we have so many shifts. So shrinking that down a little bit makes the system go faster too. We could also then have a look at, say, shifts connected just to John. Great, there we go. We're able to see that. And that's a much more manageable piece, say, for instance, for one of your administrators, John, who deals specifically with his shifts. Let's take those off again. Notice that we can also filter by location and date. We can also show complete and incomplete. So if we show the incomplete shifts, those are only the shifts with the red thumbs down. Those shifts have not yet been satisfied. So that's how filter works. Let's go back to showing all. Note that if you change the date, the filter resets. So if we were to have a filtered set, and then we change the date range, then the filter would be set. We'd need to reset that. So let's show a little bit how the shifts button works. All it does is take the appointments off. So if you do have a very small workspace and you don't need to see the appointments, you can just toggle the appointments on and off. Size just makes the size of the shifts and appointments a little bit bigger maybe and easier to see, but it takes up more space. The refresh and the reload button we've talked about before. Something that's a little bit interesting is PDF. So in this particular case, maybe we'd like to generate a PDF so that we can send that out to people in our organization for, say, the month of February. So please remember, everything in this window that we filtered in and filtered out will show up in the PDF. So let's say Jim would like to be able to send out to his volunteers information that's connected just to him for those volunteers. And if we created a PDF just about these shifts, what we'll see is if we click on that PDF now, we can see all of the information that's connected with Jim because we filtered that out by setting a contact person as that system. So we can see all of the information that's available in that window gets put into a PDF. So let's go back and see what it looks like for John. Actually, John doesn't have enough. Let's go back to the original. Now let's say we've got this number of shifts and we'd like to see it just for the calendar. So cal PDF means to generate a calendar PDF. Let's see what that looks like. Just based on the information that we filtered out in the date range that we've selected. Let's see what that looks like. So you can see now that there is a different layout just for the month of February. And what that allows us to see is we may be able to show where volunteers have come to a particular site and they've signed up. And a little bit of tweaking or practice on the administrator side will really help you to lay this out in the way you want it to look. But you can see people that have signed up. You can see situations where there's an open spot and it's a layout by month, which means you could print it out or send it out to your volunteers or to coordinators, and they'd be able to say paste it or post it on a site so that volunteers could see the schedule coming up. Okay, so that's a little bit more information about what those buttons can do in cutting down the shifts that you see, organizing shifts, going back and sorting through your shifts so that you only see a manageable piece. And please remember that the date is the first step for you to sort into a particular range. And then the filters button is particularly powerful, toggle on and toggle off. And then we talked as well about the functionality of the PDFs. Good luck.